I'm going to show you how to make the Melenie picnic tote. It's a fabulous little tote. It's got lots and lots of pockets, somewhere to put your champagne, we wish, somewhere to put your fizz or your sandwiches, your cutlery, your plates, your napkins, everything you need. You've got pockets inside, loads of them, pockets on the outside, lots of room if you look at the size of the base. It's a really fabulous little make. So this is how we're going to do it. You get your pattern pieces, you've got instructions to say place on the fold, and it tells you how many to cut out, and we're using a 1/4 inch seam allowance and cutting a couple of handles. It's a lot easier than it looks, so don't be put off by all the pockets and everything. You'll find that it comes together really quickly and really easily. So what we're going to do, I've already prepared some pieces just to save time, and what I've done is I've done one of the fronts already with the pockets, and I put the handmade on. If you've got yourself some labels, put your handmade on, it looks really professional. I basted it to some lovely foam. I've done one of the handles because I want to show you how to make one, and then I've done both the lining because these are exactly the same as the front. You're just going to put them together a little bit different, that's all, with your seam allowances, but they're exactly the same. So we've got 3 there that I've already made, and I'm on my last one. So first of all, before I do anything, I want to attach my front or back of my tote, picnic tote, to the foam. So just so it doesn't move about on me, I'm just going to add a few clips, because you'd be surprised how much this walks by the time you get to the end. So just clip one here and here, and you use whichever foam or fleece, even whatever you want to use. I think foam's good for this because it makes the tote quite sturdy, and if you're going to be carrying plates and cups and food and things like that, I think it's nice if it kind of stands up on its own. So just pop one here, and one here. So I'm just going to do a basting stitch. I've already got it set to a larger stitch length, and just around the edges, just going to do that now. You need this in place before you can do anything else. So just sewing around all the edges, attaching the fabric to it. We're going to be doing what they call a T-bottom on this tote. Very, very easy to do. So don't worry about anything like that if you've never made a bag before. It really is easy. And then just to the end. As long as you sew the foam to the fabric within this seam allowance, it's not going to show on the outside of your bag when you put it together. Last little bits. Whoops. And then last piece. And we're ready for the next step. Cut off all my threads. Right, so now I want to get my ruler And I want to measure 2 inch or whatever you decide you want to do above my cutouts. So I'll just double check that that's what I did on the others. So I'm not telling you porkies, yeah, it's 2 inch. So going to get my ruler, and this is this pen that you can iron out or something, or you could use chalk if you don't want to use these sort of pens. So I'm just doing a line because I really do need to keep this straight. And I wanted it high enough up as well because this is going to have a seam allowance to do the base, so you don't want it to get caught up in that either. So I thought that 2 inch was about nice. So now let's take our piece. I've turned it inside out and I'm just going to sew along the raw edge to make like a tube. Put my stitches back to where they should go, to regular stitch length, and off we go. I'm going to have to do a top stitch in a minute. And the obvious thing when you turn this out would be to put your seam to the bottom, but we're not, we're going to put it to the top and top stitch, and that's because it's just taking some of the bulk out when you start doing all the folding, but you'll see what I mean in a minute. So it's now a tube. You can press, at home you could press your seam, turn it the right way around. Going to give it a bit of a press open them seams. There we go. Now this I want at the top, and this is where I'm going to top stitch. That way I am keeping my bulk out of my seams. And if you press this and you make it really tidy, and we should have a longer stitch length there, then it will look really neat. The end now, and this will just stop it from rolling around. We don't want this seam kind of rolling to the front. Now the next thing we need to do is press it, and then we need to fold it in half. I want to press that. And then fold back on yourself. These are going to leave you the creases in the right place for the pockets. And the same this side. Right. Okay. So now we've got, this is it. We've got the creases where we want them. We also need to know the centre of our front or back. So I'm just going to take a little notch out of that. And then do the same on the bottom. Then to guide me, I'm going to get my ruler. There it is. Get my pen. And from top to bottom, I'm just going to do a line. And that keeps me my sections even. So we've already done 3. We're on the last one. So you're just going to repeat this 4 times altogether. So I'm going to line this one up first on this line here. And get it under the machine. I'm going to do a proper stitch rather than a basting stitch, because it's a pocket and I don't want it falling apart on me. Just put this in the right place, that's it. Got that lined up there. And both my lines, my crease line and my pen line are meeting. So, up we go. And this foam that I use sews through beautifully. Just go over one or maybe 2 stitches, and then we're going to go back down again. So doing like a double stitch. It's nice and secure now. So that's the centre one out of the way. So you know you've got it in the centre. You've got both, you know, the half done, the midway. So now we're going to do the work on the edges. So ignore that you've got excess fabric. You just want to work on the edges. Once again, we can line ourselves up with these pen marks. So I drew a line right at the beginning. There we go. And then same at the other end. There we go. So what we're going to do now, so you see this pocket's looking less difficult as we go along. We're going to pull this pocket straight, and where we did that crease line, we're going to sew. So this wants to be flat. Back under the machine. Sew up the crease line. One stitch, possibly 2. Then I'm going to go straight back down where we just sewn. Bit of reinforcement. There we are. So now we're going to do the same to the other side. So pull it flat. And that's my crease. And you could make more compartments with these to fit actual things, just by sewing more lines down at these outer edges and things. So you could customise it more. And again. There we go. Right, so this last bit is quite easy because there's enough fabric to go both sides, when you'll see what I mean in a second. So you just want to do a bit of a fold and a fold that side, and it just kind of pushes into place. It's easy. And the same with the other one. So just get the clip on that, turn it round. I've got this excess fabric, just going to push one side, then the other, which kind of pushes it into place. And we're just going to clip it. Clipping the top here, we're sewing from the bottom. There we are. So now, when we put it under our machine, we've just got to catch it all the way along the bottom. So I'll start here. And I've got a line to follow that I drew right at the beginning. And I want to catch this. I might have to go back because I think I might have missed a bit there, but I will double check. This needs to go. Whew. Bit noisy that. And then we're just going all the way along, which is now creating all your pockets. Just check that bit that I thought I might have missed, but I might not have done. You never know. Yeah, I did. No biggie, just go back in. There we go. All mended. So now, take those clips out now, actually. It's time to start putting it all together. So, oh no it isn't, we've still got a strap to do. So with the strap, you can have raw edges at the end because they're going to be attached to the actual bag. So take your strap, 4-inch strap, fold it in half, press, fold into the middle, and back over and press, and that's your strap. So we're just ready to sew now. just sew one side, sew across the raw edges, and then down the other side. And across. That's your strap done. So now we're ready to put it together. So let's start with the outside of the bag and do the base first. So I've got the base to do, got the box bottoms and the sides to do. So you're going to pin your base, line up your notches that you made earlier. Now your sides you want to line up where your pockets start and finish. And check it again before you, when you're actually sewing and you get to it in case it's moved. That's fine there. This side's the same. Just get rid of all my cottony bits. Once again, line up those pockets. You're doing a 1/4 inch seam allowance on the outside of this bag for the pocket. Yes, lined up. So let's go across the bottom first, back to a regular stitch. Lined up. Now we're going to do the sides, but it's important that we keep lining everything up, because if they don't meet and the miles out, it will show. Right, let's have a look where we are. Pretty good. Not far off at all. Nothing that concerns me anyway. Right. Same with the next one. Make sure they're lined up. Doing a lot of layers now. Lined up, yep. Check. Yep, that's a nice one. So's that. Right, so it's T-bottom time, so going to line up the seams. Make sure they're really nested on top of each other like so. Get your clip in. You still need to check it when you're sewing in case alt's moved, but it gives you a good chance. Make sure there's no puckers at the edges there. Same with the other side. So open up them seams. Make sure they're properly on top of each other, that's correct. And then make sure we've got no fabric in them corners. Otherwise you'll end up with puckers that you don't want. There we go. So we're doing a 1/4 inch seam allowance straight across. Okay, so that one, just check. Yeah, that's really good, that. I'm really happy with that. So the next one. Make sure they're lined up again, which they are. Near enough, nowhere near as good as the other one, but it's not enough to bother me. So now we're going to cut this seam allowance down just to get rid of some bulk. Ooh, that is bulk. There we go. And the other. Just helps when you're turning through. And they're okay actually. So we're just going to turn the bag right side out because I want to get my straps on next. So you can see it's starting to come together, is this? So now from the edge, I'm going to measure, I think I'll measure 6 inch. Can always change it if I think it's too near. Let's try 6 inch and see what I think. So do some markings, got my strap. Leave a bit sticking up, just makes your strap a bit more secure. Put this one in. I think that looks about right myself. Yep, so we'll do the same at the other side. From your seam that you've just made, measure along 6 inch. And from your other seam, measure along 6 inch. Then a couple of clips. I'll make sure we're not twisted or anything. Anyway, where's my mark? There it is. Let's have a look. Yep, happy with those. So, just get them basted on. Longer stitch length, just so they don't move. So I'll do a bit of a stay stitch or a stitch just along here, just to hold that strap in place. Same on the other side. Do exactly the same. That one just needs a bit more attaching. I came off too soon then. That's it. There we are. That's the outside of the bag done. So I've just got to do the lining, but we're just going to do it a little bit different. Very similar, but just a little bit different. So pop that to one side. So we're going to put the pieces together. I'm going to sew across the bottom at a 3/4 of an inch seam allowance. This is if you know, to make your lining not baggy. I want a really nice tight lining, so I'm doing a much bigger seam allowance. But at the start and the finish, at the top, you must end up with your 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, or you won't get it to fit the outside of the bag. I'm going to leave my gap as well in the top of the bag rather than the bottom, because it's such a wide opening that you don't want to see where you stitched it. So we're going to do it from the top. So now we're going to do these sides, and once again we've got to marry up these pockets. We'll start at a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance and then take it right out to 1/2 an inch, 3/4 of an inch, sorry. Same at the other side. So clip into place. Here we are. There we go. 3/4 of an inch seam allowance. Yeah, that's lovely. This side. It's lovely too. So now that I've checked my seams, I can cut my seam allowance down because there's quite a lot of bulk going off there. There we go. The other side. Just going to chop all that off. And then we're going to do the T-bottoms. Just like we did on the front of the bag. So pull it open, match your seams up. Let's get rid of these threads. Match your seams up, open your seams and lay the seams on top of each other like so. And we're going to do the other side just the same. So open those seams up. There we are. Lay them on top of each other and pin, clip. Right, ready to sew these at 3/4 of an inch seam allowance. Do a bit of a back stitch, extra seam allowance, 3/4 of an inch we're doing. Just make sure they're laid on top of each other, which they are. And same at the other side. Back stitch so it doesn't come undone. And seams on top of each other. There we are. Covered in cotton. Right, so just check these. Yep, that one's perfect. This one's perfect, so I'm happy to cut the seam allowance down. You could overlock all this if you wanted, if you've got an overlocker, or you could zigzag for extra security of your seams. This one here. So cut a load of bulk out there now. So what we want to do is we're going to place this bag inside the lining, right sides together. Matching up our seams and clipping all the way around. So I'm going to start at this end, just get my clips and my seam allowances together. Maybe put 2 or 3 in. We are going to be leaving an opening at the top to turn the bag through, which we will close when we do our top stitching. So here again, we're just going to line those seams up. and push the bag into place best you can, just so that I'm getting everything lined up. So I want to line it up on this side just past the strap, and I want to do the same at the other side just past the strap, and then I'm going to leave that bit wide open, and that's going to be my turning point. The back bit here we're going to pin all the way around. Nearly there. So it's not as difficult as it looks, it's just looks like there's a lot of pieces, but they're all the same once you've done one panel, so it is you know, relatively easy. So now we're going to sew the two pieces together at roughly 1/4 inch seam allowance, making sure that our seams are lined up the best we can. Just keep turning it around. You'll find that that extra seam allowance that we took on the lining will make all the difference to how your lining sits within your tote bag. Just keep going. I've got to remember to leave a gap. Nearly there. So we're just going to go past this strap and back stitch so it don't rip when we're trying to turn it through. Didn't do far enough here, so we're going to just start again here. That's it. There we are. Now we're going to turn the whole thing, whoops, that was a stitch, wasn't that? I'm going to turn the whole thing through. You didn't hear that, did you? It's only across the top. I can catch it when I'm doing my top stitching. I'd have probably been wiser to leave just a slightly bigger gap, which I have achieved. So now we've got the bag out, so just got to be careful now to get this lining through. There we are. So we're going to pop that inside the bag itself. And what we need to do now is get this lining to sit nice at the top here and close that gap. So we've got to clip all the way around now. Roll in the top so that the lining, it's definitely on the inside and not rolling to the outside. Now this bit here, where's my gap? This bit here, I just want to have a look and see how bulky it is and if I can get rid of any of it, because that will help when we sew. Have a look. Yeah, I'm going to chop a bit off that. So just at my seam, without cutting into my seam allowance, I'm just chopping a bit off. Just that amount, just help. Now when I roll that back, it's much better. Now let's look at this other seam, which is over here. See if there's how I can chop off here and all. Yeah, there is. So, first of all, get rid of them threads. I just want to chop enough without going near my actual finished seam. That's all I've chopped. So this should sit better when I roll it. And it does. So just going around the whole of the bag now. Cutting off any threads that we don't want. I'll come back to the opening in a second, just finish going all the way around here first. And I'm going to take the bottom of my sewing machine off because it'll just help get my bag round. Not far off. Right, so we're just going to do this front bit now. And it should, well, I'm going to fold the foam first, I think. And then I'll fold the lining and clip them together. It's just a bit bulky and I want it to be pretty even. I think that might be something like. So that just helps to get them together. And we'll have to check that it is straight when I've done. At this moment in time, it's looking pretty straight to me. I wouldn't. I'll put that middle bit there. Just, that's it. You pull. Yes, that looks straight enough. Right, so we're just going to get rid of this bit so that I can get my bag underneath. Move all my stuff. So I'm going to top stitch. Start anywhere really. But I need this top stitch, do need it near the top because I want to close this hole up. And then just, well, actually put my speed down, just take your time going round because this bit you want to be pretty perfect really. What a useful bag this is, so many different things. But it is time for a picnic, so it's that type of weather, isn't it? So hopefully we'll get enough good weather to have a few. Right, I'm just going to bring this out because I've got this strap in the way, and as much as I don't want to do this, it's anywhere really. So I'll go back where I started. I'll make sure I pull the strap over next time. And just take it easy over the seam. Even though I cut out a load of bulk, it still wasn't totally happy going over there. Right, I've now got my strap in the right place this time. But if you do, it's not the end of the world. It's soon fixable, isn't it? There we go. A bit more. Right, we're nearly there now. It's just a really large, wide top, isn't it? Because it's a picnic tote. And you need to get loads of stuff in there. This time I'm going to make sure, once again, that I get my strap this side underneath the foot. That's it. And we're seconds away from being done. Now get rid of all these loose threads. And then push the bag out how it's meant to be. It's just ready now for a really good press. Getting any strays. And as you can see, that's a lovely tote.